So, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is a weekly success circle, especially for solopreneurs. We get together because we enjoy each other's company and we like exchanging information and experimenting on things together. And we all give and receive support. I hope that you will know something about our approach by reviewing our operating principles on this page. My name is Lowell Ann, and I've been in business for a long time, helping people get where they want to go. Oh, here comes Roland's music. Well, thank you, Roland. Go for it.
Well, I'm sorry, but my camera doesn't work. I'm having technical difficulties, I guess.
I gathered that.
Sorry about the late music. I was there, but I couldn't get into the Hangout.
All right.
Hi, Wake.
So, welcome back, Vivek. Wow. Good to see you. So, this is an opportune time to say our viewers will want to know who we have in the green room with us this morning. So let's take a minute to do a few introductions. And normally what I do is I try to choose people in the order in which they arrived. So that means, Bill, you're always here first. So would you like to begin?
Well, I like to show up early to make sure I don't have any technical difficulties. Right. But my name is Bill Graham. Happy Tuesday, everybody. My website is billdoesbeliefs.com. And I provide unbiased information, or what I refer to as the unbelievable truth, to help folks that might be considering a permanent move to Belize for retirement or for whatever reason to make an informed decision.
Oh, right on. And thank you for manning the visuals this morning. I really appreciate that. And just again, so everybody knows, if you like those visuals, that was something that Bill helped me put together. And I'm quite happy with it. So I think he'd be ready to help somebody else do the same if they wanted to. Am I right, Bill?
Absolutely. That's what we do, is we help each other, and yeah.
Right on. So Fred, I think you were the next person here. So how would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Fred Jones. I have a website called ourfutureleaders.ca, and I'm involved in coaching young people to gain self-confidence and their communication skills. And I'm planning to use Google Hangouts, and I find this group very helpful in that regard. And Roland spent a lot of time as well as Lowell Ann, and I really appreciate it. So I'm located in Victoria as well, in British Columbia, same as a few others.
And it's great to have you here. I'm really looking forward to hearing that opera singing you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I think you were the next one in, weren't you?
Hi there, my name is Jay, and my company is Magi Studios, and we help people get started in the world of internet marketing through coach, consulting, and training. I've been doing it for just over 11 years now, and yeah, so I'm just getting started.
Oh, you're just getting started.
Now I'm warmed up.
You're right. Boy, it'll be really interesting to see what happens when you're going full force. Now, I'm not too sure who was here first, Roland or Vivek. So, Vivek, you just because we haven't seen you for so long, how would you like to introduce yourself? I guess we're not getting a sound. He's saying waving. So Vivek is probably the farthest one away. So, so Roland, you go ahead and introduce yourself. And your sound is not coming through either. I think Hangout is doing funny things to us this morning. Wow. So, and Alana was here, but I see she's kind of dropped off. So we may be encountering some Hangout gremlins or something this morning. So if there's anybody out there watching, perhaps we'll just have to bear with us. And if that happens to you as you're watching, maybe just reboot or something. See whether a refreshment makes a difference.
Yeah, and I had problems with my sound. I lost your sound and a couple of others, and simply pushing F5 will do that for you.
Thank you. That's the refresh, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's worth us all knowing. F5. Yeah. So this morning we were, as a kind of a follow-up from last time, we talked a bit about how we know what's where the source of the visitors to our websites and so forth. And we did sort of talk about Google Analytics to some degree, but it seemed as though there was an appetite to know more about, or to think more about Google Analytics. So hence the title for today, called A Closer Look at Google Analytics. And I think that it's worthwhile for us to just kind of review exactly what Google Analytics can do for us in terms of our website. So from what I've been able to observe, and with my limited experience with Google Analytics, is that it can tell you where your visitors are coming from. It can tell you their gender. It can tell you what systems they're using. It can tell you where they are in the world. It can tell you what pages they visited. Let's see what else. I'm thinking also that it can tell you how long people have stayed on the page, and I think that you can tell where they entered and where they left, or when they left. So does that cover what everybody else's understanding of what Google Analytics does? How does everybody else use it?
Just
Yeah,
don't-
analytics is,
Yes.
and maybe just a little bit of a definition of the terms, is that all of the information that analytics provides you is data.
Yes.
The individual components of it are what they call insights, and the analytics is how you interpret that. Now, my experience is analytics won't tell you what you're doing wrong. It will tell you what you're doing right. So by that, I mean, if for example, you have a post that people aren't watching or people aren't looking at, analytics won't tell you if you have a bad title or if you have bad content. It's kind of up to you to go back and figure out where you've gone wrong in analytics. And I'll let somebody else who knows more about how to SEO and that stuff talk about that. But that's something I think we should maybe make a topic in another week, is the basics of SEO. Because if you don't understand how the search engines work, and you don't have to be an SEO professional, but if you know just basically how they work, the basics of what they do, how they crawl your site, how they index your site, and how they rank your site, I think you'll have a lot better opportunity at improving your analytics.
I think Roland wanted to chime in there. So why don't you unmute yourself, Roland, and see if we can hear you.
Just checking anyone can hear me or not. Okay.
Lolan, you're muted.
So is that working all? Everything's
Yes,
working?
it's working.
My conclusion is that Hangouts was having a problem because I was here about almost 10 minutes early, but I couldn't get in and I had to restart my computer twice and it's still malfunctioning. So I dropped out again, came back in, and somehow it's working. So there's some continuity check going on. And by the way, Bill, I was here early. I was on time. But technical difficulties either way. Thank you very much.
That wasn't a personal shot. It was a recommendation for other people that join Hangouts.
Well, and just from all of our experience here this morning, it does help to try to show up a little bit early so that we can work out the kinks, because there always are. So.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Vivek.
Oh, yes. Great. Yeah, I just had my dinner, so I was a bit late to join in after a long time, but yeah.
So good to see you here.
Thank you.
So while you're there, would you like to introduce yourself? Say a little bit about where you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, my name is Vivekanand. People call me Vivek. Presently, I'm in India on a long holiday from England. I have taken up a small project here. So let's see how it goes. It's a startup company, and there are a lot of challenges. But I'm presently staying at a paying with a family here in the, so closer to work. Because otherwise, if I stayed with my family, that would mean 4 hours of commute every day, which I couldn't really do. So yeah, that's long story short.
So you were lucky enough to find a place that has a good internet connection. So
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, right on. Okay. So welcome here. Glad you were able to come back. And Alana, I see you're there now. Would you like to introduce yourself before we carry on our discussion?
Sure. My name is Alana, and I'm over here in Ireland. And my website is emptynesterblog.com, and I'm also a virtual assistant. So yeah, sunny days here in Ireland, but I did have a lot of trouble getting in today. There's a bit of a stutter on the line. I don't know if that's on my end or your end.
Yeah, I don't know either, because your sound is coming through in a fairly choppy way.
Yeah, I'm actually hearing that too. So I had to use my phone because I couldn't get in on my laptop, so I'm on my phone. So that could be part of the problem.
Well, Google Gremlins is all we can say it is. So, okay. So, but I'm very happy everyone it made it here this morning, despite our technical glitches. So getting back to our topic about what analytics can do, what it does, and so forth. And I liked that, Bill, you were saying it's just data, and the analytical part is something that goes on in our own brain, doesn't it? So, yeah. Is anybody else using Google Analytics? Jay, I know you are for sure. So what, tell us what, I mean, over and above what we've already said, do you use it in a greater way than what we were just saying?
Yes. Yeah. I certainly use it in a little bit more, well, much more elaborate way when it comes to some clients that are using e-commerce. So within analytics, when it's set up, you can actually check to see where people are abandoning the cart. And that's a common term for an online checkout system, where they press add to cart, and then there's a process from that add to cart to payment, and so that you can check out what's called your abandonment rate on each individual page, and then you can determine why people are leaving that particular step within the cart checkout process. But I mean, that's sort of a fairly advanced setup. But at the very least, the way that I perceive as Google Analytics, it's a way to track behavior on people, the behavior of people on your website. So, I mean, and you can really dig down deep in terms of what page they land on first, what's the most common page, what they do, where do they go next, where are they leaving, where are they leaving, how long are they averagely on each page, and I think to kind of pick up what Bill said, I think the time on page is a very important thing to look at. It's a very important metric to look at because it can tell you whether your post isn't as effective as you thought it would be. Because if you have people leaving within the first minute and a half, and your average reading time of your post of 1,000 words would be, say, 5 minutes, you can then kind of guess, well, why are they leaving at this point of the content? And maybe it could be something like a spelling error, a format error. Maybe there's a pop-up that comes up around that time. Maybe there's an ad that's something that they tend to click on. So, it's really important. And I personally think if you're not getting conversions that you want to, so i.e. like getting them to click on something or call, click, or come by, whatever it is you're wanting people to do, then take a look at that average time on page element. And it's actually just within one of the default columns. Because then you'll really be able to learn about the behavior of your audience, and that's, I think, a really important metric to look at.
So I guess you'd have to figure out how long it takes to read that page.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of tools out there. I know Google Docs has a tool that gives you the average word count and stuff. So, but basically 1,000 words is about a 5-minute read.
Really?
Yeah. You'd think it'd be less, but that's because you have to factor in images. There might be videos or something like that, And as a quick little strategy, little trick, if you will, if you embed videos on your blog post, people will then tend to stay longer on your site.
Well, and you sort of wonder how it's great to have a video or two, but for bloggers like myself, I'm not sure I would put a video on every single blog post.
No, not on every. Just if you can find some appropriate video that you know offhand, or if you have your own video, then absolutely. So, but it really is, to learn about the behavior of your audience, you could just dig down so deep, right? In terms of learning about your audience, you can see what browser they're using more often. You can see what's their average screen size, whether they're on mobile. So if you notice that people are coming in through mobile, then you're going to want to make sure that your site is really enhanced for mobile, for that experience, So, so if you have an average page time of 1.5 minutes on a particular page, but you kind of cross-analyze that data and notice that they're all mobile. So maybe there's something that's intruding, in terms of the reading pattern at that particular time. So don't always assume that your traffic is from your desktop, is from a desktop computer.
Well, one of the things that as you speak about that, do you remember that plugin that we all implemented? What's it called? ADP? No, that's not what it's called. What's it called?
Oh, AMP.
AMP. So I've noticed a number of entries in Google Analytics that actually shows the AMP within the address. So that's a clear indication that they are coming from mobile.
I love that. I love using that AMP. AMP, in my opinion, I think it rocks. I think it's great because it builds, I mean, it really helps your rankings in Google, but, and it may not convert as well as your typical content would, but mobile content in general really doesn't convert that well anyway. So, because people don't fill in forms or buy things on their phone. So at any rate, but yeah, I mean, I really like that because then it really boosts your Google rankings.
So I might just, does anybody else know about this AMP? Should we talk about it a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So AMP is a project started by Google, it's they're collaborating with other people, and it's basically to deliver content, to deliver things on your site faster. And it's called the Accelerated Mobile Project, and which stands for AMP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, and basically what it does is it actually it without kind of geeking out too much, basically what it lets Google handle your cache. It lets Google handle your content so that people can read it right away. So if you Google something and then they click on yours and they're on a phone, it'll show up. It'll show up. And if you look at the URL, it will still say Google. But then if anyone clicks on anything else, then it goes to your website. But you still get that ranking metric to it. Mm-hmm. So it basically delivers your content faster.
And it's a plugin developed by some guys in India, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's the plugin that we were talking about was developed offshore. It's in the WordPress plugin repository directory, and yeah, I really like it. I think it's a great feature to have on your site. I mean, it takes a little tweaking, and of course, there's monetary elements to it, because they have to make money somehow. So
yeah, they've just implemented some create buttons and some various additional things. But I will say that when I installed it, I had some difficulties. It seemed to interrupt my ability to download images, but they were like, it seemed to me they noticed that I had downloaded, and they connected with me and asked what my experience was, and I told them, and they did things to fix it. So that I found them very responsive in that way.
Yeah, they had actually emailed me because I did a webinar on AMP, and then they noticed this surge of downloads coming from I guess, and they figured it out. It was basically because of this webinar. So they emailed me saying, oh, and I guess people were experiencing problems, right? And they're kind of leaving, whether it be like negative feedback or didn't like it, or contacting them. So they contacted me and say, Jay, I see that there's you did this webinar. Is there a way where we can kind of jump in and reply to some of these comments? And it's like, yeah, here's my affiliate link. So.
Yeah. But since then, I haven't had any problems. So, but I I found it really interesting that within Google Analytics, you can tell just by that AMP and the address, you can tell the source of the traffic. Yeah. So Vivek, were you going to say something? Yeah.
As far as I understand, AMP was actually designed designed for India. In a way, because yeah, Indians use, here in India, we use mobile phones more than the desktop. So if you look at the overall population, almost everybody has more than one phone, mobile phone. And typically one of them is a smartphone. One of them could be a good old Nokia or something. Use the phone, and they all use the YouTube and so on and so forth. There, the issue is still the data throughput. So that they pay through their nose, literally, for their data package. So the AMP is an attempt to compress the data from the server. It is compressed and sent to the phone. And then on the phone it gets expanded. So data download is less. That's the aim. So
I see. Right on. Interesting.
Alana had a question in the
Yes.
chat. A great question. It said, "Is it worth exploring the demographics of your audience via Google Analytics?" And I would say yes. It's worth exploring all of the insights that Google gives you, but in particular demographics. And I found that when I open my website, because I'm communicating to an older crowd, that at one point I had to go in and increase my font because people were a little bit older. They were finding my site hard to read. And that wasn't something I picked up on. It was something that I picked up on, or a friend of mine picked up on when she looked at my site. She said, you know, this is a problem that I have as a 65-year-old person, is that I find your font very small.
Yeah.
And once I changed the font, I noticed an increase. But with regards to demographics, I think they're very important because, for example, we're all in different places in the world. And if Alana is posting something using Irish cultural references, they may not be picked up the same as people in the US or Canada, or, you know, in Britain, the engine is under the bonnet. In America, it's under the hood. So, or, you know, people that are posting in Belize need to realize that very few people here have a desktop or a laptop. Everybody has a mobile phone. So if you're not posting with mobile in front of mind, you may lose a lot of people in Belize. So yeah, I think the demographics are very important.
Demographics also plays a role in, I mean, what Jay was referring to earlier. Your shopping being abandoned. It could be because you are not shipping outside Canada, could be. And they realize it at the end, nearer the end, and then they have to abandon it because they can't buy it.
Oh, I'm not sure I caught everything you said. You were breaking up there, but so are you suggesting that early on in, like, if there's something to purchase or whatever, you need to say where it's suitable for right up front?
Yes.
Is that what you were? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And that goes back to doing your posts and understanding how SEO works, I think. You know, for example, if you have a vegetable farm in Victoria and you go on and you post fresh vegetables delivered to your home, well, everybody in the world is going to click on that. The people in India and the people in Belize are probably not going to click an order. They're going to click off of your post. But if you post fresh vegetables in Victoria delivered to your home, then Google will rank that a little differently, and more relevant people will find your post. So I think that's a problem with analytics, is that we have to understand the SEO a little bit and how we present our message and make it relevant so that Google can index it properly for us.
That's a good point. Now, I saw a message pop up there, but I didn't see what it said. Was that from you, Roland?
He says, trying for a continuity check.
Oh.
I think that goes back to what he was saying
He's
about
wondering if
you
his
have
mic
to
is
be able
working,
to
but
interpret.
right now it's muted, Roland.
Yeah. Sorry, Alana, what was that?
I was thinking it was, I'm kind of remembering what Jay was talking about before about being able to interpret the analytics, because Bill, you were saying that Google will, you know, tell you how long someone stays on your post, but they won't necessarily tell you why they left the post. So if you're a shopper, like this happens to me all the time when I'm on a site and I'm trying to buy something and I get to the checkout only to find out they won't ship to Ireland. And I'm encountering that problem more and more every day. So I have to, you know, find sites that are willing to ship here, or, you know, don't bother at all and have to buy it local. So yeah, I think you have to know how to interpret the analytics is important to know as well. And like Bill was saying about his audience and the font size, yeah, I totally agree.
So, Roland, your question, I see a couple of questions here. One of them says, and how about vlogs, recommended text addition to page and post? I don't fully understand that question.
In other words, when you do a vlog or a vlog, you're not running text. So it's a different situation when it comes to Google Analytics. So I've always gone by the premise that if you plan a video, it has to be accompanied by appropriate text that's relevant to the video, make the video relevant to the text, and even a partial transcript of what's in your video. So I wanted to know what Jay felt about that, and what he recommends.
Yeah, I'm actually reading the comments on Laolan's site right now. But okay, so for vlogs, yeah, I think obviously, it's hard for a machine to read the text that's inside a video, right? Unless it's transcribed. So I think if you're going to do a vlog, well, I mean, if you're doing a vlog, your audience is a little bit different. Your audience is going to be primarily or probably on YouTube or wherever your videos are being hosted. But let's say you embed them on a post within your WordPress site. So if you go down that route, which I recommend you do, then you want to have some sort of editorial or abstract about what the topic of the day is, or the topic within the video. This way, search engines will pick up the information. But also, not only if you have your website set up with Google Analytics, but if you also have your website set up with something called Google Search Console, otherwise known as Google Webmaster Tools, or what was formerly known as Google Webmaster Tools. And what that does is it lets Google know when you post new things on your site. So it's like a virtual town crier for your website. It says, oh, okay, everything. So today we've posted something new. Google, please go check out our new post. And this is handled with what's called a sitemap. And so then what Google does is they saunter over and go check out your site, and they read. It's like the dad that kind of sits there with the newspaper. All right, let's go check it out, right? Let's read what's on your website. And then it'll kind of take notes and and it'll see what's your site's about. And that's basically how Google indexes websites. So for vlogs, I think as long as you have a good title of the video, and also just maybe an abstract, and usually you have an abstract in the description of your video there. So I think that's totally fine. But, and now Roland had another question inside the Laolan website.
Yeah.
And it says, when beginning, what are the earliest values brought by analytics before experiencing significant traffic flow? So when you set up Google Analytics, you will get your data within 24 hours. So you will start to get, so if people visit your website, it'll show up, okay? Now, just to clear things up, by having Google Analytics, it doesn't increase your traffic. Okay, just to clarify, it doesn't make people come to your site. It is merely a data tool. It's a stats tool that monitors people who come to your site. It's up to you to get people to your site. So, but yeah, within 24 hours, you'll be able to see the data within your site or within your analytics.
And that's a good point. I think we have to realize that search engines don't read our site like humans do. They're reading the background text or the HTML. So every little thing that we can do will help that search engine make a decision on how to properly index your site. So if you upload an image and the title is image 3 JPEG, a Google bot doesn't know what that image is about.
Oh.
It's the same as if you have way too many keywords. An SEO, a search engine will be confused about what exactly your message is in that post. So it goes back again, I think, to understanding a little bit about how all of this stuff is indexed before we can ever expect to get a real read on our analytics.
So I was just going to share what I've been doing with my videos on my site. So I've got the title and a little bit of information about what the particular session was about, and the thumbnail has a link behind it, so that if you want to watch the video, you can do that. So I have all of them in there with some data and the title, et cetera. So with the hope that some of this information will be picked up and listed. So
Leanne, are you using keywords for those videos?
No, the videos, what I use is just the title that we decided on, and I have to admit that as we have these hangouts every Tuesday morning, the title just merely tells anybody what we're going to talk about. It's a discussion point. So that's what I use is just the title of the thing. I don't know. What do you think, Jay? Would it make better sense to to pay more attention to keywords in the title of?
Yeah. So I mean, you want to put your keyword in, or at least your targeted keyword in. Your title, your meta title, your meta description. I mean, we're getting a little bit more into the SEO part, but
yeah,
basically the easy answer is yes. You want to try to have that in there. So,
and the better you can add that title based on what somebody will search. I mean, sometimes you might want to consider funneling people to your website to how do I attract people to my website, or whatever you think they're more likely to type in.
And that would and in doing that would mean that there are several places that title would have to be done. That title change would have to happen. So it would have to be done within YouTube, and it would have to be done, I mean, several places on my website, et cetera. Like, it's not like it's dangerous just to go and change the title of something without knowing all the places that you need to do that.
Well, maybe it's important to decide what your best title will be before you do
Well,
anything else.
And I do try to do that, but also bearing in mind, you know, the discussion that we had and what terminology we used as we were discussing it, and so that it links up together. So it's kind of more that than choosing a keyword. So that's tricky.
I
Can I just make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, you know, going forward, that you throw a keyword into your summary and don't focus so much on the title per se. If you know the title, you can't. Sometimes you may not be able to find a decent keyword for your title, but if you can find a way to work it into the summary, and I would not go back and do it now, but I would say going
forward. Yeah.
Forward. Yeah.
You
just in summary.
Yeah, YouTube hashtags would be the best place to put the keywords.
Yes.
And the other point I was going to make was
apparently a moot point.
Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Sorry, we're not laughing at you, Vivek. Like your sound cut out just at an opportune time, or inopportune time. that was odd.
While we're waiting for WeWake to come back, I had a little something.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I posted in the comments was the concept of video thumbnails, where it's just an icon, or actually embedding the video itself. Because for the user experience, very possibly, especially in mobile, it's when you put multiple videos in the same page. Now you're going to say there might be a conflict in the keywords per video, but sometimes the concept of 3 videos are all about the same thing, and we break it up into smaller bits. So we watch the first point, the second point, and the third point, or 3 parts of the same thing in short videos. And just to be able to not click around, but actually just say, swipe up the page and watch the next video, swipe up the page and watch the next video. It's a completely different experience. So I wanted to mention that we do have the possibility of multiple videos focused on the same subject. So we have to consider that for our strategy. WeWake is back.
Can I, what I think would be interesting to see if Loboland had an opportunity, and perhaps Jay could maybe go over that again with us, is to show us how to find the keywords that people are using to get to videos or posts or whatever. And that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You may be able to pick up a few tips right from your own Google Analytics account.
And I would say the answer to Jay's question, would you like me to give a quick analytics tour? The answer is yes. Certainly do that, because it's there's great insights there that people probably don't even know are there.
Yeah. So, but just before we move to that, I just wanted to go back to what Roland said. That page I showed you with all of those thumbnails and descriptions are on one page. The links go back to a page on my site, not away from my site. So it will probably be more important to pay attention to the keywords and all the things on that page that those thumbnails connect to.
Right. And then do they have an event page, or is it just a video embed?
No, it's an event page.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which case the thumbnail is essential.
Yeah.
Or you have to find the commonality in all. I mean, obviously, if you put those videos all on one page, they obviously must have something in common. That's your keyword.
previous success circles. It's pretty much all that is. I just put the date and the title and the descriptor. so that people can find them by title from there without having to leave the site to find it. Yeah. So what Vivek is saying, I wanted to say that YouTube does also auto captions, which are used for indexing in some way. I lost the rest of it. It didn't stay there long enough.
It says they're indexed in some way by Google. Additionally, the hashtags that you use in the description on the YouTube play a key role.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, that's something to pay attention to right at the very beginning when you're setting up the Hangout to start with. Yeah. So shall I white box J? Let's do that. Okay. So.
All right. So I'll pull back the velvet rope and let you guys in here. So what you're looking at right now is Google Analytics, one that's already set up. Now, one of the things that I really, actually, I'm just going to make my screen a little bit bigger here. Easier for me. One of the very first things, now also, if you have questions, just jump in because I can't see you guys right now because I'm concentrating on this screen.
Right.
I don't have my second screen set up this morning. So, so one of the things that I always recommend for people after they set up their analytics, and I'll quickly show you, is to create what's called a second view. So when you set up analytics, you end up with something like just, you end up with this is your main view. Now, if I'm going to hit this thing here, you're going to see a few different things, right? It says main view, and then it says unfiltered view. Now, one of the reasons I recommend that you copy this view is that you basically, when you play around with analytics, you can kind of break it.
Oh, good.
So, but by creating a copy of your view and call it unfiltered or raw view or something, it's basically a backup, okay? And to simply create a copy of it, all you need to do is go to your admin, which is located on the bottom left. And in the view column, you go to view settings. And then there's a button there that says copy view. And that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. Well, except for naming what the view is. Okay? And that's it. And then you have a backup, right? And then so just name it like raw or do not touch kind of thing, and then just use the copy of the view going forward. Now, it's never too late to do this. So if you've never done it, do it now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, Jay, you said only play with the main one and leave the raw one alone, or
that is correct. The reason why
leave the copy alone.
That is correct, because see, like I could start doing like adding segments and stuff, right? So let's go bounce sessions from mobile traffic, and we'll apply that. So now, as you can see, everything's kind of changed, right? Now you might not know how to like remove this data. So then you go like, what did I do?
Yes.
So this way you can go ahead and break this view, right? And there's no problem with that. Now it doesn't affect your traffic in any way, shape, or form. All it does is just changes the stats, right? That's it. All right. So there's 4 main sections inside Google Analytics. It's called, one is audience, one is acquisition, one is behavior, and one is conversions. So audience is about learning about the people who are on your site. Acquisition is learning about how they landed on your site. Behavior is what they do on your site. And conversions tells you whether they did a requested action on your site. So now of these 4, the only one that you really need to do extra setup is the conversion ones. So if you don't have any kind of specific conversion yet, or you don't know how to do it, don't worry about conversions. Just look at your audience, acquisition, and behavior. Now, there is another report here called real time. Now, what real time is, it's all of this stuff, but it's for people who are on your site right now.
Right now.
Yeah, so I've got one person on the site right now, and they are from that place.
Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in India.
Right, okay. And they're on mobile.
Right. Now,
As you can see that
so
they're
how
on
can
AMP.
you- oh, is there, I can't see it. So does it say AMP?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Cool.
So, but you see there's like little extra things. So real time, you know, you don't really have to worry about that too much. Okay. So now every time you click on one of these things, the audience acquisition or behavior, a new little submenu opens up.
Yeah.
And each one will have an overview. Okay. And if you're just getting started in, oh, we got a new one. Sorry. We just sit here all day and watch how many people come on. So if you're just getting started in Google Analytics, then I think just looking at the overview is really sufficient. Okay, so audience overview. So what this is showing me, this is like my main little overview dashboard. Okay, now, so we have sessions, users, page views, average page per session, average session duration. That's that reading time that I was telling you about. Okay. And the cool thing is that Google Analytics has made some amazing advancements in this tool. Did you see how I was able to hover over and it kind of gives you like a little tip as to what it is, right? So a session versus a page view.
Is the difference.
So it says page views are is the total number of pages viewed. Repeated views of a single page are counted. And then I can go in and take a look at what the users are. Users are who have initiated at least one session during the date range. And then session is the total number of sessions within date. A session is the period time a user is actively engaged on your website. So I know that's all confusing, but basically just look at sessions, because sessions, it basically means how many people are, you know, checking out your site.
Right.
Okay. So I can see, I can have it break down every day. So I could see on Tuesday, May 2nd, we had about 261 people visit the site. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Friday went down, and now it's kind of climbing back up. I find this interesting how you would think that weekends would go up versus down for this particular site, but there's a reason why that's happening, and that is because of the nice weather. So with nice weather, people are not hunkered down inside their offices or their homes and looking at websites like mine. They're out playing and enjoying the sunshine. So it's very typical. Because if I were to take this and do a compare
over the season, yeah,
it would completely change. So also within all of this stuff, you can actually, so the data that you see on average is it's like every 30 days. So it's showing me, this data shows me for the past 30 days basically, right? Or sorry, past week. So now if I go, let's go the last 30 days, change that. So we can see the data is a little bit different now.
Yeah.
Right. Now here's the thing that I really love about Google Analytics is that you can compare your previous year I mean, obviously you have to have your Google Analytics set up for a period of time to do this, but you can compare from the previous year. Go apply. And you can see if your metrics have changed, right? So obviously in this session, I didn't have this particular analytics set up on this particular account, right? So that's why the orange says 0. So yeah, let's change that to previous period. So that means the previous month. So we can now cross compare the previous month. So this is ideal if you ever do like a promotion for a month and so on and so forth. And then just make sure you uncheck and apply, and then that takes you back to your normal data, okay? So that's your audience view. Acquisition view real quick. So remember, acquisition is how they basically acquired your website. So it shows you where they came from, right? So did they come from organic search? So the search engines, did they come in from actually typing in your website? Referral would be a link from another website, and social would be from, you know, a social media post. Behavior shows you, this is where it gets a little more detailed, specifically on each particular page. So it says, like, on average, you have so many page views, where they are visiting most often. So we could see within the last 30 days, it looks like this particular website address, this particular, here, I can even change page title. This particular one, 3 awesome examples of affiliate marketing websites, is completely dominating when people come and visit my site. So if I were to click on that, I can see specifically what particular page they're looking at. So we can see there's the AMP version, so which is 18% of my traffic, and then there's just different AMP sessions here.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So if I ever wanted to see where people are leaving, I can go to my exit pages, right? So we can see primarily people are visiting that page and then leaving, right? Now, they're actually leaving to a site that I want them to leave, to go to. So that's, there's, you know, in a normal situation, that would be bad. I would not want to have them leaving that. You would not normally want to have people leaving your site. But in this particular strategy, they're going to a place where I want them to go, and that's actually a good thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, and that's really, you know, and you can really dig down deep in terms of all of the analytics, the data, right? You know, once you start getting a little more familiar with Google Analytics, you can cross-analyze this data. So for example, I can, like, so let's go back into this particular part, the behavior part. So it says, all right, well, here, Jay, here's, you know, where people seem to be visiting your site most often. Now I want to get a little more in depth. Right? So you have this thing right here called secondary dimension. It doesn't warp you into a different time and space dimension or anything like that. But all it does is if I click.
Jay just disappeared. I guess we didn't like the secondary dimension. So does anybody know what the secondary dimension does? I was busily writing my notes to so I would remember what that does. So what's everybody's thought about how often would you find yourself going in and checking those that data? I
do it once a week.
Some
people do it once a month, but I typically do it once a week.
Yeah, I'm once a week as well.
It's really going to depend upon the traffic you have and what you are trying to discover. Because if you have a new promotion out and you've got hundreds of people a day visiting your site, you're going to be on your analytics every day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like Jay's back.
Did I go away?
Yeah, that was a great demonstration of what a bounce is.
Yeah.
And we're
the second dimension.
And we're still not seeing you, Jay. We're just seeing your avatar.
Right. There you are. Hello.
There you are.
Anyways, yeah, so I was just basically showing you that. Did you catch the secondary dimension part?
No, we wanted to. We were just saying.
I was wondering why no one was laughing at my jokes.
Still.
I know, yeah. It's like crickets in here. It's like, what the hell's going on?
So tell us exactly what does the secondary dimension tell us?
All right, let me pop back over here. So I was looking at, I was kind of digging deeper into the pages part,
Mm-hmm.
and let me reset it here. And the secondary dimension allows you to kind of see, you add a secondary, so we could see, this is the page that I'm looking at here, this particular page, and I wanted to break down by country, like what countries are visiting this site, so I could see this secondary dimension. So if I want to see that, I can see, where they came from in the world. If I want to go to acquisition, and I can go to source.
Mm-hmm.
I click on that, and then that secondary dimension changes. So I can see that the majority of people are coming from Google, some from direct meaning typing it in, a few from Bing, and then this thing called Yahoo,
Mm-hmm.
iCloud, Facebook, some other websites. I even got one from Nintendo.
Wow.
Nintendo right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I really didn't. I didn't get that you could take some other aspect, and include it into
yes. So
that could be useful.
It's very useful. Now, there is a thing that says other. So right here, so this is where your secondary dimension part is, right? This is where you can change it. You can actually add a third dimension. Okay. Now it's not going to take you into outer space or anything like that, but if I go type in country, now I can plot it by country. Okay. Or I can take it back to my page. Okay. So as you can see, like messing around with it, you can completely get kind of lost and whatnot. And if that were to ever happen, all you got to do is just click on this main part again, and it resets it for you.
Right.
Okay. So that's your analytics crash course. Right?
Course.
Yeah, basically look at audience acquisition and behavior. And then, more advanced thing would be conversions, but you'd have to actually set that up. Okay. And if you ever wanted to kind of make yourself try to feel good, take a look at the real time, to see if there's anyone on your site at that time. So we've got one from Warsaw on there right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's actually kind of cool because now I can see here, I can see top active pages. So I can actually see that someone actually opted in to my web form recently, because that thanks page is my thank you page that people see after they opt in to my list.
Right. Well, I think you could spend a lot of time in there. I know you could, because I was in there yesterday. Oh, there goes Jay. He's disappearing again. So,
whoosh, I'm back.
So Bill had a comment here from Lawrence Snow. Would it be better to expand on the summary, or does the link open to another page with more detail? The more the detail, the more focus SEO keywords, no? So I think he may be referring to that page that I was showing. Bill?
Well, if I can, I would say yes. I mean, the more focused you can be, and it depends on the path I think that you want people to take. If that video is going to be the initial step, then you want to try and optimize it as best you can so people find that, because if they don't find that, they're not going to find the more detailed information in the next step that you've asked them to take.
The path of least resistance.
Resistance, yeah.
I mean, if you want a real world example, here, I can quickly show you a real world example here. So, all right, so in terms of keywords, right? So let's type in affiliate website examples. Type that in. So here is that, so that page that we looked at in my analytics that was really popular, this is the one, right? So I was specifically trying to rank for examples of affiliate marketing websites. And I also have, you know, variants of that. So affiliate website examples, I am position number 3 right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically how, you know, so the path of least resistance. So someone wanted to find, you know, example websites of affiliate marketing, and they click on that, and then they can see 3 awesome examples of affiliate marketing websites. And it kind of goes through and it shows them different types of examples, okay? So that is essentially what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to come in from searching that particular term. So I made sure that this particular article that I wrote, the blog post, focused on those words: examples, affiliate marketing websites, okay? And there'll be little snippets of those types of words within this piece of content. And that is one of the reasons why it ranks, is because of for that exact reason. Right, Alana?
Yeah, I'm just getting some ideas, Jay.
Yeah, I saw that hamster wheel rolling in your noggin there. You're like, you're leaning in closer, and you're like, oh, how does he do that?
Yeah, did you see the steam coming out of my head? What came to mind was prove it. And I'm thinking about the stuff that I write, and a lot of it, we've had this talk before about whether it's fluff or not. And I want to go back through my posts and basically prove it. Take my post, take what I'm trying to convey, and prove it. So I'm going to use the football snack helmets as an example, Jay. It'll show up on my site.
It's a backlink for me, so yeah, but give her absolutely. By all
yeah,
means.
well, I got to prove it. You know, that's one of the things I think is important. If you're talking about something and you're trying to impress upon someone what works and what doesn't, proving it works.
Yes. And I think Roland wants to prove it by. Sorry, Bill.
That's okay.
I think Roland wanted to jump in there and had his hand like.
Well, what I was going to say was the gentleman was asking about the summary on the page versus a link to a different page to give more information for the summary. And I think that we can use this to direct people where we want them to go. So that what our intention on what we want to drive the people to is going to be the determining factor. The other thing is, if we were to place a link like that and everyone was clicking that link, that's going to tell us something, right? So that's a very obvious analytic that we have to pay attention to. But what I was going to say about the use of video in the first place is that Google and YouTube both place a lot of value on YouTube video. So when you place the video in your website in the first place, that changes the search value or the SEO effect right from the get-go. And then if you enhance the verbiage around the video, that can be really, really strong. And you could find yourself on page 1 where nothing else has a video and yours has a video. And you better be relevant, because if you're not relevant, you're going to kill your site. But if you do have relevant content and a relevant video, the video can get you really good search results in a hurry. And so we want to not discount that.
That's for sure.
I concur.
I just wanted to bring up a point based on Alana's comment about, wanting to kind of analyze her videos or analyze her posts to see if they were fluff or it was good quality content. And one of the ways you can use analytics, it may not be Google Analytics, but it's still analytics, is to A/B test. I mean, if you do email marketing, you may want to send out 2 emails with 2 different titles and let analytics tell you, what's the better way to do. So A/B testing is a great way to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and using analytics to determine that.
Thanks for that, Bill. I'm going to check that out.
So that comes under, well, I guess you can A/B test something on your website as well, can't you?
Yes, you can A/B test headlines, and there's actually something called Google Website Optimizer that helps you do that. So it is a tool that allows you to do that. So it's kind of advanced, but it is a tool that does that.
And is that a plugin, Jay, or what?
It's kind of no, it's not a WordPress plugin. It's actually a snippet of code that you have to put into the page that you want to split test, right? So that's basically what Bill was talking about. A/B testing is a split test where you have a baseline, so a baseline headline. So you have headline A, and then you have headline B. Right, so your A is your baseline, and then it randomly shows the 2 headlines, and then you watch the metrics behind that, to see which one is more engaging. So in a situation, common split testing or common A/B testing would be for email opt-in.
Yes.
So and then you gauge what's working, and you can say, all right, well, that headline seemed to work better. Right. I actually just finished doing a headline A/B test. So, and learned that people want to steal things.
Which one worked out?
Stealing.
Oh, come on, really?
By a mile. Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it blew me away. Yeah, it was basically learn my methods and steal my methods, and it was steal my methods.
That's really discouraging to think. Wow.
It's very interesting, though, when you think about the mindset of people, right?
Yep.
They would rather steal it.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of analytics, because, I mean, we write an article and we think our content is great, but it's really irrelevant what we think. What they're thinking. And that's bottom line is the answer to whether you're writing good content or not, is are people reading it, as opposed to do you like it?
Right.
Yeah.
You have to consider what the implication is between the word learn and steal. And the challenge in learning is way different than stealing something. So people want the easy way out. And that's what, I mean, they're not thinking of actually stealing something from you. But the concept of stealing is an easy way in for the people on the receiving end, and that's why the appeal, not because they're thinking of ripping somebody off, but because of the gain they have with the least amount of work. It's called min-maxing.
Least resistance. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah. So the amount of time and the learning curve and all of that. Yeah. Cool.
People want the easy way.
Yeah, I should mention the steal one also had a different image of me.
Yes, it did.
So the steal headline had that image, or something similar to that with same bundle of money, just different background. It was a different location.
Yeah,
That's why it converted, not
Yeah,
headline.
yeah, exactly.
That's why it converted.
Bundle of brown hundos, right?
Well, why did it convert? We'd have to do another A/B test. We'd
I know. Yeah.
get the better
Yeah.
title and the two separate images. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I know.
Right on.
Maybe an A, B, C, and D test where
I
you
actually did
put the
a
money-
C, and it was a crude headline, just why not, right? And actually converted. It was really weird.
That's an important point, though. The image may have a much greater effect
Absolutely.
from people taking action, and we don't always consider that. Just to have an image versus crafting an image or using the right image, it's very important.
We are all online psychologists who
Yes.
test variants to see how people behave on your site, right?
And some of us are good psychologists, and some of us are bad psychologists.
Okay, folks, I'm looking at the time. My goodness, we've gone 20 minutes over today. So thank you all for staying with me, and thanks to those who are not able to stay. It was great to have everyone here, and we haven't thought about what next week's topic will be, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. So I just want to, Roland, you got some music for me today? So thanks everyone for joining, and we will see you again next time.
Voice box.